Hello and welcome back to First Impressions. This is a show where my co-host Dash Hooper and I evaluate a new album each week with a few simple ground rules. First, must be an album you've never heard before.
Everybody. I don't know if we lost Ed or not. There we go.
All right, that. So, all right. Well, sorry, I don't know what is going on with my internet. It should be good, but yes, we're here on First Impressions. Thank you, Dash, for taking over. So, we evaluate a new album. If you haven't watched it before, watch another episode. The whole intros are there every time. But this week, we actually pivoted. If you're here to hear about Portishead Dummy, my apologies. We're not going to be talking about Portishead Dummy this week. We are going to be talking about Lady Gaga's Mayhem. So we actually pivoted. We changed our pick for the week because this album came out on Friday, and I thought this is one we should be talking about because if you look at the news, if you look at music news, that is, I mean, granted, you turn on the Channel 7 news, you're not going to hear about Lady Gaga, but if you look at the music news, it's all over there. So we switched it up to talk about this one. So Dash, how are you doing this week?
I am doing wonderful. Can't wait to talk about this one.
Yeah, it should be fun. I mean, we'll see. I think we might end up split. We didn't talk too much backstage because we want to kind of leave it for the live moment. We might have a guest pop in at some point today, but for now, it's going to be the two of us. We're talking about the album. It actually just came out on last Friday. So it's the newest album we've done. And if one comes out, if there anyone who's listening and watching, if there's an album that comes out that you think we should cover and it's a brand new album, let us know because we're always happy to pivot. With whether any genre, if there's something that's big that we should be listening to, send it up and we'll change things up, especially if we can talk about something almost in real time. I mean, granted, we're not going to do it the day it's released, but pretty close. This is the closest I think we've ever got.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
All right. So, as always, we're going to start with a little history of the artist. We're going to talk about the history of Lady Gaga. And if you haven't heard of Lady Gaga, I don't know what to say. Because, I mean, like her, love her, hate her, you know her. I mean, it's one of those things where I think before today, I don't think I had ever listened to a Lady Gaga album in its entirety. This was the first time, but that doesn't mean I don't know 10 of her songs just because they're everywhere. All right. So,
true.
Little backstory. Lady Gaga was born Stephanie Joanne Angelina and on March 28th, 1986 in New York City. And she is a globally renowned singer, songwriter, and actress. She made one good movie, at least. We won't speak of the second one. So she began her music career performing in New York's underground scene where this was from an interview. I was listening, trying to do my backstory with for this so I know a little more than just what I do from my very shallow internet research that I do. She started performing in a lot of New York underground clubs, and she was performing a show in New York, and it was just filled with frat boys that were talking and completely disengaged with the show. So she decided, you know what's going to get them to pay attention to me? Stripping down to just her underwear. So she stripped down to her underwear and definitely got their attention, but it also kind of set something off in her head. She understood the power of theatrics in her stage performance now. If you have to do something shocking and wild to win the audience, then do it. And that's what she started doing even in her early years of performance. So in 2008, she released her first album, The Fame, which became a mega hit. It had lots of hits, but Just Dance and Poker Face. I don't know Just Dance. Maybe if I heard it, I would, but the Poker Face,
Dance.
Everyone. That's it. Okay. Yep. I know Just Dance. Never mind. Now that you say it, I know it well. So yeah. And that
don't take us down, YouTube.
Yeah. Come on, it was 2 seconds. Let us go through this. So yeah, Just Dance, that's it. Yeah, and then Poker Face, I know that one. I think, like I said, it's hard not to know some of these songs. Even when I didn't recognize the title, as soon as you said 2 seconds of it, I knew exactly what the song was. So yeah. I mean, that's her first album, and from there, she has just recorded a lot of huge hits and gone all over the map with her style. So she's known for her eccentric fashion. One fashion thing you cannot forget if you follow Lady Gaga even a little bit is the meat dress. I mean, this I remember so distinctly. It's like, what the hell is she doing just wearing steaks on the stage? It's like, I don't know what the reasoning was. Maybe she was trying to protest animals or something, but I don't know. I guess you wouldn't do a big animal protest wearing meat. That's not really going to get the message through. It's like, don't eat meat. I'm just wear it. So like, I don't know what the purposes of it were, but it's I remember the dress. I can give it that much. So, for that.
Yeah, that's unforgettable.
Call it a win. Yeah. So talking about her fashion and just kind of doing things for shock value. She is not above just trying to shock people. So she's genre defying. She's recorded multiple pop albums, a country album. She did 2 albums of standards for the Joker movie, which, haven't listened to them. Won't start. The trailer was more than enough Joker for my taste, so I haven't even finished it. But she's also done an album with Tony Bennett, so she's been all over the map. And a lot of her last few albums with the Joker stuff, with the Tony Bennett stuff, her diehard fans, the little monsters as they go by, were starting to call her normcore. So they were getting bored. So I think this album kind of gave them what they wanted when we get to talking about it. We'll see. If you're a little monster, let's see what you would think. And I've listened to multiple podcasts with other really diehard fans, and most of them seem pretty happy. It's the ones that weren't really fans to begin with that have more critical things to say. So yeah, she's recorded multiple albums. In 2018, she was in the movie A Star Is Born, and she earned an Academy Award for the song Shallow. I thought she was good in that movie. I enjoyed it. She also acted in the sequel to The Joker, but we're not going to speak about that abomination today. We've spoken enough. We've given it more press than it deserves.
Way more press.
Yeah. So that's enough about Joker. There's no image. I'm not going to pop up a Joker image because, like I said, we want to let that movie. Where's the Men in Black to come flashy thing us and just remove that movie from all of existence? That's what we really need.
That was
rough. So she has won multiple Grammys. She's won a Golden Globe. She's won an Oscar. No Tony. She doesn't have that EGOT yet, but I'm sure she can go on Broadway and win that Tony easy. Just go do one of those one-woman shows, like kind of what Bruce Springsteen was doing. Go up there and just have her and a piano, and there's her Tony, there's her EGOT. But yeah, she's a pop culture icon. She's undeniable. I mean, if you know anything about pop music over the last 20 years, you know at least a few of her songs. Love them or hate them. I know Pops who runs the network. He is not a fan. Yeah, he was like, oh my gosh, you went from this to Lady Gaga. This isn't going up. But in the end, like I said, we're trying to be timely, talk about something that is right here, happening right now and getting a lot of press. So this album was kind of considered her return to pop music. So let's now kind of dive in a little bit to the history of the album. So
thanks, Grant.
Yeah. So I think, it's interesting because what I found, and this kind of takes us off topic for a minute, but that's okay. We always go off topic. If you watch the show, me staying focused on one place is a task that never gets achieved. I try my best, but the ADHD is real and it doesn't let me go in a straight line. But hey, diversion is fun. So the thing that I was talking to my kids about is that this new Lady Gaga album is hitting really hard on TikTok. So, and they're like, oh yeah, that song's all over TikTok, and this song's all over TikTok. Lady Gaga is smart. He found a way. You're not going to sell 1 million albums. I mean, Taylor Swift does. Maybe Lady Gaga can pull it off, but she's got buzz. She's got real buzz occurring, which is something that hadn't been happening for her for a while. I mean, the only buzz she was getting wasn't the kind of buzz she wanted. It's like, okay, here's buzz. People hate the movie I'm in. Here's buzz. People are saying it's boring that I'm just, doing songs with Tony Bennett. And that's not the buzz that's going to get you back into the lexicon of pop culture. But becoming viral on TikTok, that'll do it. And I guess whatever dance she does for one of her songs has become just TikTok gold. And you really can't mess with TikTok gold. It's as good as selling 1 million albums now, because now people are talking about her. Now people are going to go play her songs on Spotify. They're going to go on YouTube and they're going to play her videos. So yeah, it's going to be something. So yes, I know, Pops, you have said Lady Gaga is not for you. So that's all right. All we can tell ourselves is at least it's not Kate Bush. So there's always a positive light we can spin on this one. So yes, I'll if you want to attack me for my Kate Bush stance, feel free. Some people already have, but it's a step up, Pops. At least you can say that. Perhaps maybe you feel that, maybe you don't. You could consider it worse, but I have lost my focus. So yes, the album that she just put out. History of the album. There we go. We were going to comments and I was talking about how she's become kind of TikTok viral, but this is her 7th studio album. It was released, like I said, March 7th. So just a few days ago. And it was considered for her, she wanted to make a return to her dance pop roots, blending elements of industrial, synth pop, 80s. There's a lot of 80s kind of synth pop vibe in there. So in an interview I was listening to an interview that she just recorded over the weekend. She was saying that for this album, she wanted to create an album that has everything she loves about music all in one place. So she wanted to deliberately incorporate disco, classic rock, electronics, grunge, 80s synth pop, all those things. And that was kind of what she was going with. So I have some thoughts, because I mean, the thing that made me kind of want to know what this album was all about was I kept reading how it was influenced by Nine Inch Nails. And we'll talk about that once we get into kind of our overall thoughts. But yeah, I'm not feeling that. I don't feel the Trent Reznor in this thing, but that is, like I said, when we get to
definitely don't. Nope.
So the lead single, Disease, and Abracadabra have been huge TikTok things. Die with a Smile was already a hit. It's got ridiculous amounts of streams on Spotify, and that's the duet with Bruno Mars. So before the album even came out, she had one hit already, like a huge hit. All right, so yeah, couldn't play it on Pilled. And I think honestly, it's hard to find a way to stream this album. It's tricky because with the older albums, a lot of the ones we cover have been out for a while. You can find a full version on YouTube to listen to, but when it's this new, the label's still yanking them right off. They're not letting them stay up there. So yeah, it wouldn't have been an easy pull to get there anyway. But yeah, it's people go to Spotify, go out there. You can find the album. If you have heard it, you can tell us kind of what you think of this. So yeah, it's definitely what she wanted to be her return to form. So whether you think it's that or not, like I said, that's up to you, and we'll definitely get deeper into it. But let's hit with the review. So as always, if it's possible, I like to go to Metacritic, not because it's some authority, but it just compiles everything. It's like a Rotten Tomatoes for music. And on Metacritic right now, it's scoring an 83. So it's generally positive reviews. There's a few negative. There's a few reviews that were just outright negative, which brings the algorithm score down. But an 83 is solid. I mean, it seems like a lot of the albums we do are somewhere in that range of the 80s, which means they're good. They have a good buzz, but this one's new. It's a lot easier. The older ones, it's harder to find real reviews from real, or I should say real time reviews, because you get those reviews that are talking about, looking back retrospectively, and of course you're going to say you love it now, even if you hated it then. So it's getting praise mostly for the nostalgic approach that she's taken, kind of harkening back to her earlier first couple albums. And they, the Little Monsters seem to be happy with what they're getting. Dash and I are not Little Monsters, so we can't say what the Little Monsters would say, unless somewhere hiding back there we got our Little Monster hoodies we're going to slap on after this. So you never know.
No.
Dash has no Little Monster. He has no Little Monster hoodie. He's not going to bust out his Taylor Swift hoodie. So yes, we know.
Never.
We know what he won't do. Even if one day his daughters are like, Dad, you have to take me to Taylor Swift, he won't be buying merch for himself. So you never know, because that could happen.
Definitely
not. He's like, I'll make sure it doesn't happen.
It will take a act of divine intervention for me to even go to a Taylor Swift concert. Even if the girls ask me to, it'll take a divine intervention.
It's like, that's why you got a wife. She can handle those duties. Like that falls under like, please, wife, save me. Because the screaming girls, that'll be on decibels louder than Kate Bush's voice. So we don't need that. So you need to be spared. But hopefully by the time your kids are old enough to actually care, there'll be something new. But there's always parental torture. It's not like it's going away. It'll just be a different torture, and one that you're not familiar with, and that your book co-host won't yell at you for not liking. Or maybe she will. I don't know. She likes to yell at you, so that's how it goes.
I don't know.
All right. So overall thoughts. I think I know where this is going, but I'm gonna let you go first, and then I'll go and save my own face, because I'm a 10-year-old boy. I already got a tap.
All right.
I'm gonna let you go with that first.
Yeah, you. I will be the 10-year-old boy. Listen, first of all, I'll do the pluses. I love the cover of this album. I think it's a fantastic cover. But as we get into the music, she says she's trying to. You've heard. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna get in trouble. If you've heard one Lady Gaga album, you've heard them all. And what I mean by that, for those of you that don't want to mean, the people that were mad at her for sounding the same, I feel like she sounds the same in this album. There's songs that Abracadabra sounds reminiscent of what's the name of that one?
Bad Romance.
Bad Romance. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, because that's the other one where she kind of name drops herself, where she Gaga's into the song, and I was laughing. I'm like, yeah, that's something. She just was like, I'm gonna say my name right here in this song, and you're gonna like
Bad Romance. That one's, I mean, almost Bad Romance. Then there's one that sounds like No Doubt. Ain't No Holler Back Girl. There's one where they got that do one. Some reverb. Yeah,
I got that in my notes. We'll be talking about that one for sure.
But there's some good stuff. There's a couple ballads I like on there. I guess you call them ballads. I really like that. My wife likes the Bruno Mars and duet with her. She does like that one. She's like, I won't listen to any other album, but I will listen to the Bruno Mars song. I think it's just the same. I mean, my overall thoughts, I feel like don't get me wrong, I loved when she did the country, when she went in and did Shallow and things like that. To me was awesome. And don't get me wrong, I do like some of her songs. I like a lot of her songs. I personally, I think she's and my wife said the same thing. We think she's a better Madonna. We think she's better than Madonna. And I think, so I have nothing against Lady Gaga. This album just felt like she went back to album 1 or album 2.
Yeah.
And I personally like that country, that country vibe that she gave. I thought she was, like you said, she was great in the movie. So yeah, my overall thoughts is this could have been, we talked about Taylor a couple weeks ago, where Taylor kind of
Yeah.
branched off with her edginess and with Midnight's. I would like to see a little bit more. She says she went with Trent Reznor. I don't get it out of this album. You said
she
it.
just
I
said
didn't
she
hear
was
it.
influenced by it. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that I
possibly.
don't know.
But
I mean, then and a lot of the critics are kind of name dropping that as one of the key influences in that one. Yeah, I miss the correlation with those two for sure. But yeah,
I missed it if it's in there.
yeah, if it's there, it's light.
But overall,
but yeah, I
mean,
kind of
it's not
it's very not
the 83%. Yeah, the 83% on Metacritic sounds about right. I would probably have it about 7.5, 8 out of 10 on this.
Yeah, and that seems pretty fair.
It could have been a lot better.
Yeah,
it could have been a lot better.
Yeah, for me, you when you say you've heard one Lady Gaga album, you've heard them all. I've literally heard one Lady Gaga album, so I knew her old hits. I guess we didn't really talk about our history, but we had been talking about like anyone who has walked the earth in the last 20 years knows a little bit about her. But yeah, I thought that the album, I loved the hooks in it. What I thought was that when we talked about the Taylor Swift album, and Taylor Swift can do hooks, but Midnight's was just a hookless album. Like, where's that chorus that you can't get out of your head? I thought this album had that in there, where Midnight's was just felt like a drony kind of dream state, which is probably what she was going for. It's a bunch of different Midnights, but it didn't have that like, holy crap, grab you by the throat hook in it. And I thought this album had some points where it had those strong hooks. And there were songs that I was writing skip, and then the pre-chorus would come in and the chorus would come in. I'm like, okay, you've salvaged it beyond being a skip now. It's not to say it's going into a top song category, but there's she has catchy choruses. She can write a hook and she's going for it. And that's what I felt like Taylor Swift was just telling stories. Like, okay, here's stories, here's 12 different Midnights that I've lived through. And I'd rather have Lady Gaga making one, dance pop. I don't really care about the stories, and her stories. Yeah, Lady Gaga is definitely telling the kind of same story over and over again. And when we get to it, we'll talk about those stories. But yeah, it's kind of like you said, it's the same, but I think that's what people craved, because she kind of went outside of the box. She started a little country. She started a little bit of standards, and her little monsters were kind of demanding what they wanted to hear. And there's talk that this is going to be the last album for quite a while, because she's engaged. She's planning on stopping and having children. So this may be kind of like, all right, monsters, you complained that you weren't getting what you wanted. Here's what you wanted, and you're welcome. So it could be kind of like that final bow as she steps out of the spotlight for a while. Now, will she step out of the spotlight? You don't know, but that is at least her intention with the interviews that I've read is and listened to. She's planning on kind of stepping away for a little while. I'm sure she'll do a mega tour and rack in, millions upon millions of dollars first, but it's after that mellowing out, kind of staying home for a little while. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. But now we're going to kind of dig into what you think is the best song on this album, or some of the best songs. So did anyone stick out to you?
Yeah, Vanish Into You is probably my favorite. It's a ballad. It is deep, and I like that one. I like How Bad Do You Want Me? I felt like those two songs really show her, like, again, and it probably goes back to how much I love Shallow. I think that song is probably, she's had lots of great dance and pop songs, but Shallow to me is probably her best song ever. And because I love the way it hits and it feels. And I got that same feeling with Vanish Into You. and How Bad Do You Want Me? And
Yeah.
those are probably my top two favorites. And then after that, they all just kind of sounded the
blurred
same to
together
me
for
for the
you.
most part, kind of blurred
Yeah.
together. And and not and for the monsters and you Gagas out there and things like that, that doesn't mean it's bad. It just, those are not the ones that move me. I still be, when Disease comes on, I'm still bopping my head. It's still a good song to start the
It
still a
passes
good
the
song to
bob
start
your
the
head
album.
test at least.
Yeah, but it just, they all sound like old. They all sound like old Gaga. The
Yeah, they're
first and second album
definitely
Gaga. And I don't want that.
it feels very 90s. I'll give it that, and very 80s. So I can see that. And I guess the difference is I kind of just, I didn't really dive deep ever into Lady Gaga, so I was fine with it. And how's it going, Fish?
Yeah.
Welcome to the
Hello,
show.
Fish.
So yeah, I can see where you're coming from. So I had a few, like there were a few that stood out. So I of course I did give it the run test, and it did pass the run test. So I was able to actually run with this one because it does have a beat that keeps you moving. So I mean, really, that's all I need for a run. Most of my running music ends up becoming white noise anyway because I'm just focused on the miles. So as long as it has a productive beat that keeps my feet moving, I'm good. And that's, that eliminates some of the albums that we've covered that I really love. Like The Cure isn't really a running album. I love that album. I mean, that was both our top pick for the album of the year last year, but not a running album. So that album, I'll play it anytime, but not on a run. This album, I can play it on a run because if I'm running down a busy street and there's lots of car noise, it just has that backbeat that keeps me going. So one of the ones that stood out, I had a few that I wrote down. I liked Disease as an opener. Like you said, it's strong. It's got that hint of rock. I know she talked a lot about David Bowie as one of her big influences. So you can kind of hear that glamminess in some of these songs. So I can hear that, like when I read about Nine Inch Nails, I don't hear that. What I said about Nine Inch Nails, I wrote it in my notes. I said, it's more like if she wants to say she's influenced by Nine Inch Nails, it's more like she accidentally heard someone playing a Nine Inch Nails song who was passing by in a car as she was pushing her grocery cart back in. And she's like, ooh, I want to sound like that. And she heard like 45 seconds of the song. She got influenced that much. It's not, I was ready for like, oh, this is going to be the Lady Gaga that goes hard. She's coming in full industrial. Yeah. This is going to be scary and dark. And it was like, I think maybe she's heard of Nine Inch Nails. And it's like half these jackasses that are adapting all the good comic movies now. Do you actually know the comic book you're adapting? Or did you just read the cover? So it feels like she just read the cover of a Nine Inch Nails album and adapted it that way. So yeah, that's true. That's what I felt as it, like, okay, there's a little slightly backbeat of industrial, but it's more like a passing understanding of industrial music. And, that's fine because she's not an industrial artist. But when you say the Nine Inch Nails influence, I was eager, especially with that cover, because that cover says, ooh, this one's going dark. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to go dark. Yeah.
It was very pop, and I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm not a connoisseur of pop music. I don't run out and buy pop albums. I'm not going to buy Britney. I'm not going to buy Taylor Swift unless I have to for the show. And in general, I'm not going out to buy Lady Gaga. But when I saw the cover and I had read the few different reviews that said, oh, this is, her version of industrial, her version of Nine Inch Nails, I actually got excited. So I'm like, she could do it. She has the vocal chops to do it.
Vocal range, yeah.
She is one of those musical chameleons. She's gone all over the map. So I was ready for it. And then the opener, I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's going to go harder next. And then it goes into Abracadabra, which basically goes into disco pop where she's saying her name again, like Bad Romance. And that's fine. I mean, that's who she is, but that's certainly not her feeling, the influences of Trent Reznor. David Bowie, you hear that more in there, but yeah, even so, I thought Disease was a good and catchy opener, passes the Bob test. So you're like, all right, it doesn't need to be the perfect song, but I did really like Perfect Celebrity. I thought that for me was the best song on the album. So that one has the most industrial edge, but I like kind of it's, I guess, didn't she have a song about paparazzi already? I don't remember.
Yeah,
My
paparazzi.
Lady Gaga
That's what I'm
knowledge
saying.
it's similar themed,
These,
yeah.
yeah, it's all running together to me, and I think that's why I just it was like you know, if she'd gone, if listen, we're sitting here talking about the Trent Reznor thing. Had she gone that way, you know, it's kind of like with Kate Bush. We thought we were getting mall rock, and we just got some screaming with Kate Bush. You know, you get the feeling with the, while I love the cover of this, I don't feel the cover matches the
tone that's in there.
the
Yeah,
songs, the tone.
it's a
I
dark
don't.
cover, and I was ready for like it's almost like her face is breaking and she's breaking out of the pop mold, and it's not. It's, you know, fully within the pop mold that she's lived in all these years, and she kind of broke out of it with the what her, you know, her big not Taylor heads, wrong artist fan base. Sorry, Swifties, don't come after me. Her Little Monsters, yeah, Little Monsters don't come after me either, because I'm sure they hate the Swifties. Yeah. So one way or the other, I was ready for something entirely different, and what we got was a standard Lady Gaga album. And as someone who's never played a Lady Gaga album from, you know, opening track to closing track, I enjoyed the experience, but it wasn't the experience I was excited for when I had heard that it was, you know, harder edged and industrial hinges. So yeah, I don't know. It's all right, Fish. There you go. There's your Get Up, and this album will have you running. So go for it. That will be its only victory, because it is good. It is good backbeat for a run. Some of the albums we listen to, like the more upbeat they are, the better they are for a good run. But yeah, I did like that one, even though thematically it's like a song she's done. I liked the lyrics were, she had some kind of potent little jabs in there that I really liked. And I just thought that it was more rock edge, more grunge edge. This was what she calls her version of a grunge song. Now, is it a grunge song? Right. No, of course not. But it's the grungiest of the album. It's kind of the dirtiest of the album. And if the album had gone like this, it might have felt more like the cover, but it definitely jumps around. And we get that, you know, I don't know the sequence, but we get that Holla Back Girl kind of Gwen Stefani sounding song, which also sounds like a Blondie song. And just, when we get to our skips, I'm sure we'll both be discussing that one. And I kind of, it's also got like the Killa song. I mean, I guess it's not really a skip, but it's just like, hey, what if I recorded a horny Prince song with a 9 Inch Nails background? That's what that song becomes. I'm like, I listen to the little jangly Prince guitar, and I listen to her delivery of all of the lines, and I'm like, you're just doing a horny Prince song, which Prince wrote 8 million horny songs, and you know, you threw in some Prince guitar and you just did Prince cosplay. So it's not skippable, but it's not, you know, top of the track. So I thought it's again, it's kind of like her playing with her influences, but almost so much that she's cosplaying her influences. There's a song on here that sounded like a Michael Jackson song. There's songs that sounded Bowie. There's songs that sounded Blondie. And I'm sure that, you know, we're in our small realm of musical knowledge. I'm sure that Gwen Stefani song, that she was ripping someone else off first, because I can't imagine Lady Gaga going right after ripping off Gwen Stefani, but who knows? What do we really know in the end? But yeah, the two songs I will say, my wife's two favorite songs, because we sat on the couch. My youngest daughter was upstairs, but the rest of the three of us sat on the couch and listened to it. And I was taking my notes and seeing who agreed, who disagreed. So my wife, she loved How Bad Do You Want Me. That was her favorite song. And she said, I could hear myself singing that one loudly in the car. And she loved the Bruno Mars Die With a Smile, the duet. She's sitting there as they're doing the romantic lyrics. She just, aw. And then she was feeling that fabricated love that they created in the studio. But I did think their voices merged well. They did combine together in a good way. So I'll give it that much. Their
harmonize very
harmonies,
well. Yeah.
there you go. There's the right word. So yeah, they harmonize well, and I think it's a good song. And you can see, I mean, if you look at its views, I think it's right now her highest views on Spotify. So I mean, it's gigantic. So even the pennies that Spotify pays their artists, she's gonna make a lot of those damn pennies. So she's gonna do well with this album, and it's smart. I mean, she found a way to get to this new generation of the TikTok people, and why not? Just that's the generation we're in. They're not going out. They're not going to go buy the album. You got to market yourself in the way that you can, because going out and thinking, okay, I'm just going to drop this in a bunch of record stores and sell 1 million copies, you're not going to do that. But she's doing the same thing that Taylor Swift did. She's got an Amazon exclusive. She's got a Target exclusive. She's got a Walmart exclusive. That is the smartest thing you can do.
Japanese exclusive.
Yeah, do all these exclusives. Each one's got a bonus track. The bonus track on the Target album, not good. But you know what? The completists don't care. They'll want all of them. And I remember when the Smashing Pumpkins, I think it was the Zeitgeist album, fucking horrible album, but that's not what we're talking about today. But they released like 8 different versions. And at that point, I was still pretty much a super fan. And I went out and bought all the versions for these, exclusive songs from Target, from Walmart, from Best Buy. None of them were good. I mean, none of the songs on the album are good, in my opinion. That was the album that kind of broke me apart from Smashing Pumpkins. But it's smart marketing. Whether or not I like the album, I bought 5 fucking copies of it. So in the end, they win. Like, remember that album you hate? You bought it 5 times, idiot. So the Gaga people are going to do the same, and they may find that they don't like the bonus songs, but guess what? They don't care. The artist just sold 5 times more copies because of idiots like me who are completist and want to get all of them. And I don't even know. I couldn't tell you where any one of those 5 copies I bought are, but the fact is I did it. And Taylor Swift and Lady Gaga, they're out there doing that same kind of like exploitative marketing. It's smart, but it's dirty. But in the end, they got the mansions. What do we have? So they know what they're doing.
Truth. Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah. So that I did. Let me see. Let me see if I had any other songs in there. So those were the ones I wanted to put in, the ones that my wife mentioned, because like I said, we were all sitting on the couch listening together, and regardless of where we fell on the album, they all made it through. And I didn't have to go back to the headphones. So it's better than some of the albums we've had where they're just like, nope, you're on your own for this one. I don't want to have to listen to it, and go get the headphones.
Didn't run away.
I didn't have to go get the headphones. So we call it a small victory. Because like Wicked, I didn't have to get the headphones for that. We enjoyed listening to that one together and then watching the movie. This one, my wife is a much larger Lady Gaga fan than I am, obviously, but she's seen her in concert. She likes her stuff, owns probably 3 or 4 of her albums, and she kind of gave this album kind of middling reviews as well. Even though she's a much bigger fan, she's not even, throwing it out. I think she'd probably be like you are, about 7.5 to 8 stars, like a solid C+ album. And when we get to our final thought, I guess our overall thoughts, I'm kind of in the same place. It's like it's a C+ album with a few A+ tracks, but there's some D- tracks. And now we should talk about that. What are we gonna skip in this album? What's the skip tracks? I got a few.
I'm skipping Zombie Boy. I'm skipping Love Drug. I'm skipping Abracadabra. Well, I won't skip Abracadabra, but it's definitely not my favorite. I know that it's one, like you said, it's talked a lot about on TikTok, on social media, period, that disease, but I will pass on Abracadabra. And then yeah, and Killer's all right, but it's not one of my favorites. But I know a lot of
Yeah,
people like it, but it's just not
it's
one of
Prince
mine.
cosplay. It's so Prince cosplay. I
Yeah.
can find if I dug around, I could find what Prince song it actually sounds like. So I gotta dig through here. It's easier to read the paper than it is the screen. So those of you who are watching, I do apologize. I had my eyes dilated earlier, and it is hard to see. So I'm looking at. Normally, I don't look at my paper. I look at the screen, but the screen is burning my eyes. So yeah, I think my main skip, I'm with you, is Zombie Boy. That kind of annoying Gwen Stefani opening.
Yeah.
Whether, like I said, I'm sure it harkens back to someone else that Gwen Stefani ripped it
Someone
from, because
else,
Gwen
yeah.
Stefani isn't this beacon of creativity and originality. She, especially after she left No Doubt, kind of was like just grabbing the grab bag of musical influences and putting them out in a pop form. So yeah, it's the chorus was good, but it's just too much of it. I was just feeling it felt too much like other songs. So it was not a great song. It's an easy skip, even on a run. I'm like, all right, that one I can definitely send away. I have to try with my sweaty hands to skip it, but I'm doing that one. So yeah, Vanishing Into You, I put that one. My notes on that one were mid-tempo. It was a mid-tempo Megoat. Megoat is my favorite meme. That's this guy. So yes, when I hear a song I'm not a huge fan of, or anything I'm a huge fan of, I'm like, that's Megoat. So yes, there's the Megoat. That's that song. So yes.
You killed my song. I love that song. I love that song.
Oh, that's funny.
For some reason,
so, yes.
it just wraps me into it.
Yeah. So and honestly, that's kind of where it was. There were no songs I think besides the Gwen Stefani sounding song, and then let me see. I gotta look in here. Yeah, the Garden of Eden was kind of losing me with that repetitive like to take you there and just stuff like that. It was, oh, you're losing me again.
Yeah, Garden of Eden was a little.
It wasn't terrible. I don't even think that the one the Vanishing Into You was terrible. It was just kind of Megoat. It earns the Megoat reward. So
Meh.
I don't hate it. I just don't love it. And I think so. Yeah, I don't know where I saw it, but it became my favorite thing because that's, we'll describe anything that's very middling. Like, oh, is it Megoat? Yep, it's Megoat. So that's my favorite. So yes, I think the album kind of fits with our Megoat here. All right. So were there any lyrics? We have our skippers. I think we both agree. The Zombie Boy is just that's the only song I was actively getting irritated with. Where we've talked about it before on the show. If a song doesn't start angering me, it's not so bad. And that was the only song where I'm like, damn it, no. And then it started, and then I'm like, you move this direction, now you move that direction, now it's disco, and no, enough. Sorry, Little Monsters, but that song, it's not even Megoat. It's not worthy of the Megoat. It's just Skipgoat if one existed. So, what are some lyrics that stood out to you?
We're gonna start off with "Die with a Smile." Listen, it's not my favorite song, but like we talked about, and you talked about how they were, and my wife has a whole different view on it. That's what I like about this song, though. Because the lyrics are subjective. Like my wife sees it as someone in their family that they've lost, and I can kind of see that. But I not while it's not my favorite song. Lady Gaga, again, she writes a lot of her songs. She co-writes with other people, but she's still a great lyricist. Again, and like we talk about with Taylor and a lot of the people that we've talked about, Robert Smith being great lyricists. But I again, I just woke up from a dream where you and I had to say goodbye, and I don't know what it all means. But since I survived, I realized again, this is subjective. It might be a love lost. It might be they're in love, but they just don't know how to get back together.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the case may be, the lyrics of this are just fantastic. And again, while not my favorite song, it's not a horrible song. Let me reiterate, it's not a horrible song. But with Bruno and her, their harmonies are so good together. Wherever you go, that's where I'll follow. Nobody promised tomorrow. I think that's an excellent one. And then my other one that I had, which I really liked, is "Don't Call Tonight." Another really good. I'm trying to pull up my lyrics here. I can't believe all the things that you said to me tonight, to me tonight, to me. I know it's a little repetitive, but stars are descending. The street signs go by. A lonely ride. I need to cry to feel. Again, probably. I like these down and out lyrics because, like we said, it again. It goes back to "Shallow," I think, for me. The feeling that you can feel those words. Whereas when we get to those poppy dance songs, I get lost in while they're good songs, don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen, they're great songs. I get lost in the beat sometimes, and it's hard to stay up with the lyrics. So when you get these version songs, you really get to understand the lyrics, and you really get to hear the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, that's why those lyrics stand out, because you feel them. You can actually feel them. And while I may not think it's my favorite song, that doesn't take away from the lyrics. And we talked about that many times on the show, where there's songs I dislike, but I like the lyrics. It's the words, or it's the tempo and the music, or the tune that throws off the song. But those ones I really thought showcase her writing style, and showcase again, when it goes back to that like "Shallow" and that country album. I don't know. That's just me on that one.
Yeah.
Those are my favorites.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Little Monsters complained, but I think there's a group of the population that did enjoy it, and probably a large amount of people who enjoyed what she did with Tony Bennett, because it was so out of her norm. And that's the thing. She's such a diverse artist. She is an absolute musical chameleon, and could pull off, if she decided she wanted to make an actual, proper industrial album, she could make a good one. She could make a good grunge album. She wanted to make this dance pop one, but I'd like to see her explore just full albums outside of the box, because this one, it's got everything. I mean, there's songs I heard, I'm like, oh, that sounds like a Michael Jackson song. This one sounds like a Bowie. This one sounds like a Prince. So it's almost like, okay, AI, make a Prince song with hints of Nine Inch Nails, and boom, there's Lady Gaga's new song. It's like the originality isn't all there, but you can't deny the catchiness. And I love that she's a proper songwriter, because one of the things we've talked about is, even someone like Taylor Swift, lover or hater, you can't deny the fact that she's out there making her own music. She's not, getting, some committee is writing her songs and she's just up there doing the dance moves. She's not just, a singing Milli Vanilli. She's out there writing her own songs, making her own lyrics. And that means she's actually feeling the emotions that the songs are singing about, which I think is something Lady Gaga does as well. So one of the things, I don't know, the songs I found the most interesting were her kind of like, I'm out stalking some men and I'm going to, look for some love. I always find those ones funny to listen to, because I'm like, what? After hearing 38 Special and after hearing Blue Oyster Cult, they're talking about the same things, but Lady Gaga's taking the power back in her own hands. So I liked Garden of Eden's lyrics song. No, we can skip the song, but when she said, I could be your girlfriend for the weekend, you could be my boyfriend for the night. My excuse to make a bad decision, body's getting close under the lights. Like, I don't know. I'm a fan of like pervy, let's go Lady Gaga. That's my Lady Gaga wheelhouse right there. But she's like, I'm gonna grab you by the shirt, my man, let's go. So that one I had. The other one was Disease, where I could play your doctor. I can cure your disease. If you were a sinner, I could make you believe. lay you down like 1, 2, 3, eyes rolling back in ecstasy. I'm like, woman, you go get it. You know what? Do your thing. All these pervy old dudes in bars, we had to hear about them. Now she's going to go find one of those dudes. She's going to grab one of the 38 special dudes too and take them home. Like, all right, you're going home with me, 38 special guy. Blurry photos of beer drinking guys. So
pool shooters and beer drinking.
Cool shooters, beer drinkers. Blurry Alan Rickman, she's yours. So it's like, yes. And then I did like the lyrics, like the double meaning
Blurry
lyrics.
Alan Rickman.
Yes. Call back to Blurry Alan Rickman. We can never have enough of him. So I did like Perfect Celebrity, the last part where she says, choke on the fame and hope it gets you high. Sit in the front row and watch the princess die, where it's like, okay, definitely getting that kind of that paparazzi call out. So, I mean, granted, she's already done a paparazzi song.
Yeah.
We know this, but I mean, the lyrics are, I'd say they're just creative enough not to feel like just a rehash of what she's already done. So I did enjoy that aspect of it. So lyrically, it's strong. Like I said, I was going for the whole, like, let's go get down right now lyrics. Those were the ones that I found the most amusing. I don't know. I found them the most interesting. The ones you talked about, the sentimental ones, I guess those ones weren't catching me in this album, but that's probably because I skipped them when I was running. Like, all right, the soft songs got to go. So I'm just listening. I'm just out there on the streets running and listening to horny Lady Gaga songs, and that's my life. All right. So now
that's it.
That's it. So now we come to our final thoughts on this one. Are we going to keep this or return it to the used bin? I think I know where you're going with it, but what are your thoughts?
I'm gonna keep the songs I like. So this is kind of that one where I'd probably return the LP, but I will keep the songs I like and upload it onto a like a playlist, because like I said, there's a lot of Gaga songs I do like. I have no problem with her as an artist. I think she's, again, we've talked about her creativity. She is for the most part outside the box, and I like that in a lot of people, and I think that will suit her. That suits her because that's how we know her. But again, I'm going to take it back to A Star Is Born and Shallow. That raw, that, you know, no makeup, no glitz and glamour on her, just the rawness of the songs. No meat dress. That's what I like. I think that's the part of me that really likes Lady Gaga. And so I'll keep those songs that I like and put them on a playlist, but I'll probably take the LP back to the used bin.
Got it. Yeah, I think for me,
that's not because it's a bad LP. Those other songs just don't do anything for me, and I feel like I would end up skipping a lot of them.
Yeah. I think for me it is a keeper. Now I bought the LP, so I'm kind of stuck with it because Target's not going to let me take it back when I'm like, by the way, I just want to trade this for the CD so I can press the skip button.
Take it back.
But I did find myself yesterday. I was kind of giving it one more listen, kind of making sure, like, did I misjudge any songs? Was I wrong about any songs? And I actually did move the needle at one point. I'm like, I'm going to put the effort in because I just don't want to hear this. So yeah, when we got to the Holler Back Girl opening, is like, no, I'm gonna hit that needle on the next groove and be done with it. So yeah, but I keep it for what's good. And honestly, I could use it again on a run because the beats, the tempos, they are good moving, and then you put just the songs you need into that playlist, and it's good. So yeah, I would say it's a keeper for me. I'm not taking it to the used bin. I will definitely actively skip some songs, put the effort in, even on an album if I were to play them. But I think it's going to get more plays through Spotify as I'm going out on a run or something. Then I'm going to sit down in my living room again and listen to it. I mean, we have lots of listening we need to do. So we have we actually have picked our next 8 albums, and next week, for real this time, we're not lying to you, unless, you know what, I can't say that. Because if some major new release comes out on Friday and everyone in the world's talking about it, poor Portishead might get booted again. But if things stay as they are and there's no new massive release, then next week we will be digging into trip hop album Dummy by Portishead. So that's the plan. Will we actually be playing Portishead? We'll see. I've actually done all my show notes and research for Portishead. I was ready. Then here I am at work reading about how all the buzz about this Lady Gaga album. Like, all right, well, never mind. New research. So yeah, Portishead, Dummy. Most likely 95% chance you'll be hearing about Portishead, Dummy next week. And that's another one. This is a band I know a couple songs, but I don't know this album. So I'm excited. It's considered an all-time classic in that trip hop genre, so I'm excited for it whenever we eventually cover it.
I know they're like in the top 200 artists of all time, so but I have never heard any of their songs, so this will be a new one for me, so this will be fun.
Yeah, so looking forward to that next week or whenever we get to it, depending on what happens in the pop or music world next week. But yeah, we're definitely going to be covering that one because, like I said, I already have the show notes done. I've already bought the album. So yeah, we have our schedule coming up. We have good variety of music that's going to be coming your way over the next couple of months. But next week, Portishead. But if a major release comes out, drop a comment if there's one, something big is coming out over the next couple of months, and we're always happy to cover it because, as you can see, looking at us, we are not the standard stereotypical Lady Gaga fans, but that doesn't mean we won't talk about it and, give our feelings. The feelings of two old guys who are not little monsters, but we can still talk about it because we're just music lovers when it comes all down to it. All right, so now we have covered our show. Let's take a look at a couple of our sponsor spots, and then we will say our goodbyes. All right, and Dash, make sure you drop that link in the chat for your book because Dash has no video for us this week, but he has a book on Amazon that you can get right now. I got my copy. I got my hardcover. I was happy. I always buy hardcover when I can. I got my hardcover first print. You too can have a hardcover first print. Dash is going to put that in the comments. For mine, I do have my campaign closed for Immortal Era 10, but it is accepting late pledges. So if you want to go in, you missed it, you want to get it, you can still pick up your copy on Kickstarter. Dash's book, it has no expiration date. You can buy it on Amazon when you need it, but sooner's better because you want to read it because you know there's going to be sequels and you don't want to have to wait. You want to read now and wait for what's coming up next. So get in there, head to Amazon. I'm going to get the links up here in a moment, but let's check out our next ad. You want to read now and wait for what's coming up next. So sorry about that. Here we go. right. We'll check out our next one, but we do have link for Immortal Era 10, link for Hell Comes to Texas. So you can go into those links and check those out. You don't want to miss those. All right. So next sponsor, let's take a look. And I apologize, but I'm super squinty and trying to read. No, I have not taken up marijuana. I have dilated eyes. I remain straight edge. That nothing's changed. I just can't see for shit right now. So trying to find a sponsor ad is more challenged than it should be. All right, but let's check it out. I think I found it.
It's Flip City Magazine, The Parodies, Special Edition, with savage send-ups of The Walking Dead, Star Trek Picard, Stranger Things, The Mandalorian, Guardians of the Galaxy, and more from the first 4 years of Flip City. Get Flip City The Parodies free when you subscribe in print at flipcitymag.com. The world's best satire magazine, and never, ever woke.
All right. Sounds like Mad Magazine, but Mad Magazine only reprints stuff now. So yeah, get Flip City, because Mad Magazine's just going to give you old shit from the 80s and 90s. Not that you can't enjoy it, but I've already enjoyed it once. I don't need it twice. So
80s
Flip
and 90s,
City,
yep.
New stuff. I haven't read it. I cannot recommend it, but it sounds like a good vibe. And like I said, we need good parody magazines. With Mad Magazine and Cracked being gone, it's good to have something new. So, all right, one more ad break, and then we will say our goodbye. So we're going to check out Brett's one more time with his Mob Animal.
Welcome to Based on a True Story, Volume 6, Tales of the Underworld, where true crime collides with the furry, funny, and fierce world of the Dust Bunny Mafia. This brand new 32-page comic reimagines real mafia legends, Mad Dog Cole, John Gotti, and more, through the eyes of our animal mobsters. Think The Godfather meets Looney Tunes, packed with action, humor, and full-color storytelling.
And I think his Kickstarter is done, but it might be accepting late pledges. So check it out. Check out all these sponsors. Check out Dash's book. If you want a copy of it, Amazon. And it only took, I think, 2 days to get to my house. So it's quick and it's right there and you're ready to read it. So Immortal Era, if you back that, those should be coming out. I just approved the proofs from the printer. So those should be ready to start shipping by the end of March. So definitely check it out. It's still going to be running late pledges until basically once I've received the books and I start shipping them out, late pledges will be turned off, but you have at least a couple weeks. But until then, we will see you next week where we will most likely discuss Portishead's Dummy. And until then, have a great week.
Tube and feel the vibe. Every show you crave right here live. Heroes and villains clash in the night. Madness Comic Network sets it right. Scroll through the list, find what you need. Epic battles and fast-paced speed. From capes to cosmic space delight. Tune in and watch your favorites ignite. On Facebook, share the thrill so grand. On X, the buzz across the land. Madness Comic Network all around. In every episode, joy is found. Uploads, they never end. superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic brightens days. Hey! New uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic.